Guys, this is Sounds a Geek, and I've been noticing lately that Assassin's Creed Unity, after its announcement at E3, continues to get buried under criticism for not having a playable female character. Well, what this proves is that people have no idea how projects work, how management works, how anything is made. But, of course, this is not unexpected of people who only write from the outside and think that they can dictate how game development or how project structure is made. Now, you see, there's a good reason why people who are trying to make a product to sell initially don't listen too much to customer feedback. This is also why they waited to release the trailer to E3 when the project was in later stages of development. That way, they aren't just buried in criticism for a lot of the decisions that they've personally made or that their company or publishing department has made, or marketing department. And this comes due to the fact that people don't know what they want. And people will continue, once a project is started, to try to add in stuff. So let's say that Ubisoft caved into the pressure and instructed their developers to put a female character in the game. This means, making a whole new art for the female character, programming the voice, redoing, parts of the story, and, just doing that stuff just to get a female character into the game. This is disregarding the entire story element or whatever else is impacting the game just by adding that female character. Then you also may have to rewrite the entire story, which I said, disregarded that. You may have to rewrite the entire story just so this female character makes sense. Or you could have a poorly implemented token character, which ends up like something like in Halo Reach. Remember in Halo Reach when you had your own custom Spartan, and that was the Spartan in story mode? That's probably how the character would feel, because it would just be out of place, not really make sense, and look a little awkward, because it wasn't meant to be there in the first place. It wasn't implemented from the initial product, and the initial project, charter. So basically they have to go and redesign all of this stuff just so that a female character would work within the current limitations of the project. And that's if they could even implement it on time for release date, which has already been scheduled. So they could implement all these changes, but they may have to delay the game just to get these changes in. And it speaks to the question, is it even profitable to do so? After all the work that they put in to get a female character just to, work within the game, to try and implement that in a timely fashion just so that it can meet the current, timeline of the project. It could be a nightmare. It could be an absolute nightmare. It could lead to more potential scope creep as well. Because once you have this character, you're going to want to showcase it to the public so that there's a little damage control on how the character actually is. So say this character is too sexualized or, something that makes the public as unhappy with that character as they were with the absence of that character, and you feel that it's still going to affect your sales. That means all that work was for nothing, or that you're going to have to go back and start all over with the character and, just completely add more time or more energy. It's going to add one thing. It's going to either add more time to complete the game. It's going to add more staff, which means more money. So two of those things are going to have to be added in. It's going to add more time, which is going to cost more money, or they're going to have to add more staff to work on this specific project or this specific element of the project just to get it on time, which is going to cost more money. So basically, you have no idea how much it would take just to implement this and just to get it through the bureaucracy of the publisher to get this approved. And not only to get that approved, but to pull, some of the staffing you have off other elements of the product just to get it done. And this is why a lot of people are confused when modern games with more processing power and more, just more graphical superiority and all that have less features. Well, the fact is that you have to sacrifice certain things in order to meet a timely manner. That means if you're going to have better graphics, that means you're going to be using more resources and money on said graphics, which means that you're going to have to take it off other elements of the game. That's why games seem to have been trimmed down over the years, because so much is put into just the pure graphical, fidelity of the game, or how the game performs, or, being on as many platforms, and that has eroded a lot of the other features in the game because they have to meet a specific timetable in order for it to be profitable. So, basically, in order to make Assassin's Creed Unity with a female character, something is going to have to be lost in order to make up for all the time, money, and energy spent, expended on putting this character. And we don't even know if it would be a good idea, if it would be a good character, or it would be a token. And that's how I feel about this situation, is that, being a minority, I would rather play as a white dude than have a token character. And I just don't believe in that. I mean, one thing that really bugged me about the new Infamous game is that the main character is Native American, but there was no effort to make him a real Native American, in the sense that even just getting the cultural aspects of it right. A lot of the paraphernalia around the Lodge House and the Lodge House itself was a mix of a bunch of different tribes, and even using the word tribe is like a no-no, because some natives. A lot of Native American governments use the term tribal government, but they're not really tribes. They don't. They never called themselves tribes until, it was forced upon them. Just like the word Indian, and there's just a lot of things that went wrong when they tried to make Delson a Native American just because they wanted to make him a Native American. And it just didn't make sense. Like, a lot of it didn't make sense. It felt forced. It felt like it didn't even need to be there, and it felt like being Native American wasn't really even a part of him. Throughout the entire game, you even forget about it. I forgot he was until they randomly bring up tribes in the middle of the game. Like, to me, I would rather these developers point this from their point of view, instead of trying to appropriate different aspects of cultures just to say that they've included something. It doesn't really make sense to me. So from a social standpoint, it doesn't make sense to me, and from an economic standpoint, it doesn't make sense to me. Why they would expend so much time, effort, energy, and possibly risk delaying the game just so that they could have a female character that's fleshed out enough to please the game journalist public, who in all won't dramatically affect the sales of the game. If you look at Tomodachi Life, I mean, the whole anti-gay marriage, or I don't even really want to delve into that, it didn't really affect the overall sales of the game. And, I don't know, it actually, I think, had more of a positive impact. I didn't even know the game was going to come out, or it even existed, until all the media coverage. And now I own it. Just because a lot of my friends bought it after seeing said media coverage, and they enjoyed it. And now I have it, and it's okay. But, yeah. Basically, I can completely understand why Ubisoft does not want to, expend the amount of time and energy to bring a female character into the game when it could cost them, valuable development time and could lead to a lower, quality deliverable. So, yeah, Assassin's Creed Unity. I still haven't beat Black Flag, so I don't even know if I'm going to play it. But I can understand why this happens. Alright, Samuel out.